Welcome back to the Category Mistake. I'm Richard Mariello, and today I was hoping to talk about something a little less crazy, a little less aggressive, a little less the world that we live in today. But unfortunately, we live in a world today that is just a hot mess. Now, unless you've been living under a rock or this is 50 years in the future, on July 13th, we had someone who tried to kill a presidential candidate. A couple weeks ago, I talked about on the podcast about how we're basically screwed because the the three people that are running for president all are older men who have no grip on reality. We have an 82-year-old man who doesn't remember yesterday. We have a 76-year-old man who, thinks he's always right, even when he's not, and doesn't like when people tell him he's wrong. And then we have a son of a man who was killed trying to run for president, who's got some issues of his own. The problem is in America, we like to talk angry. We used to be okay with, oh, you're a Democrat, oh, you're a Republican. Okay, well, we still care about each other. I remember growing up in a very Democratic household, very Democrat-led household. And in 1988, when it was Bush versus Dukakis, my parents didn't even have to tell me who they voted for. I knew they voted for Dukakis, but they said it doesn't matter because we know Bush is going to win. It's no big deal, da-da-da. Basically, they voted for the candidate, but they knew the other side was going to win. But no one lost their mind over it. There wasn't rallies and parades and riots and disgruntled people every day slamming their fists down, saying the world was coming to an end. Dukakis didn't call Bush Hitler. Bush didn't call Dukakis, a decrepit old man who can't remember his own name. The name calling, the rhetoric, the anger wasn't there. Fast forward to today. All of it. People call Trump Hitler. The end of democracy is going to come when Trump is president. He was president for 4 years. Democracy did not end. People are going to say Biden is too old and he's not going to make it through and he can't remember yesterday. The last 4 years we've all survived. The president is just a figurehead. He's not that important. Everyone makes him look important. He's not that important. We have three sections of government. The House and the Senate is one, the Congress. We have the executive branch, which is the president. Then we have the judicial branch, which is the Supreme Court. The president can nominate someone for the Supreme Court. The Senate and the House, they don't have to confirm him or her. So everyone's like, oh, the president's going to unbalance the court. Only if the House and Senate vote for them to be on the Supreme Court. It isn't an appointing thing that just happens because, someone could appoint. Back in the day in the 80s, Robert Bork got, nominated and he didn't make it through the process and you don't have Supreme Court Justice Bork. It just isn't a thing. It happens all the time. You nominate somebody, they don't always go through. So saying the president has all this power, he's the whipping person, the whipping boy, the whipping individual. We blame everything on the president. We don't blame it on people who have been serving the Senate and the House since the 60s. We don't blame it on people who have never worked a day in their life outside of the federal government. We blame it on one person who had the most money and could say the nicest things on television to make us vote for them. And again, it's, Bush said, read my lips, no new taxes. 4 years later, he had to raise taxes because, we went to war. And lo and behold, he got kicked out of office because he broke a promise. Now we have presidents promising us everything from a wall to keep out, foreigners to everyone's not going to pay for their student debt and everyone's going to get free healthcare and free college. It doesn't happen because, again, you have to have the House and the Senate confirm these things, and those people cannot agree on what to have for lunch, let alone how to balance a budget. And that's another thing. We had a 20-year-old kid, calling him like a 20-year-old, baby-faced kid go and try to kill a presidential candidate. And when you look back through history, most of the time presidential candidates aren't attacked. George Wallace was. Well, George Wallace was a segregationalist. He was from the South. He said so many things, and he acted out so many things. It wasn't like a mean tweet. This man wanted to start a war with the North about desegregating schools. He did not like the fact that the government said that everyone could go to school together. And he stood on the doorsteps of schools with the National Guard trying to get a war started. This man was racist. And someone shot him. He lived, and he went out of the race. But he didn't die. But he tried to run again later. Didn't happen, thank God. Trump has said many, many, many crazy things. But so hasn't Biden. And Robert Kennedy has said a lot of crazy things too. And it doesn't matter what you say as a candidate. It's what you do, right? We shouldn't be shooting at people because we don't like what they say. We shouldn't be trying to take a life of anybody because what happened? Trump got shot in the ear and a father died. A father who was there with his kids and his wife, took a bullet for his family because people can't just listen and disagree. They have to listen, disagree, riot, bring out guns and bombs and baseball bats and set things on fire. Like it or not, when Trump was elected in 2016, there was riots. There was a march on D.C., anti-Trump march in D.C., where Madonna basically called out saying, when was the last time a rock star assassinated a president? Those words matter. You have someone who is influential talking about killing somebody else, and that's okay. And we had riots, we had more riots. Then in 2020, we had the insurrection / giant riot where things got out of hand and people went into where they didn't belong. And they did things that were very wrong. And those few made the whole pro-Trump campaign parade get together turn in from that to a insurrection to a try to take over a lot of things that those guys had no idea what they were doing. They were just being dumb. And then Trump basically saying, hey guys, go home. Stop being stupid. But he didn't do anything else. He just kind of said, you know what? They won't go that far. And then they went that far, and it was too late. Both sides have made a lot of mistakes. And all we're doing about it is pushing the envelope and trying to get more. We're not talking about, hey, why are we here? What got us here? When I talked my last podcast, or 2 podcasts ago, basically who's going to be president, I was convinced at that time that Trump was going to win because Biden couldn't remember his own name. And I'm not pro-Trump, I'm not pro-Biden, I'm not pro any. Right now I'm pro somebody else. And then, the debate time wore off and Biden talked. He says, hey, I'm good. I'm not going anywhere. I'm in charge of my faculties. I'm here for you. He did interviews, most of which went okay. And people started forgetting. And then Saturday happens, the 13th of July, and Trump gets shot. He moves his head, he gets shot in the ear instead of the side of the head. Now Trump's going to play this off because, he can. Someone tried to kill him. Good, bad, or ugly. And what they're not talking about, and maybe I'm wrong, is this was a 20-year-old kid who probably thought he was doing the right thing. What makes somebody think killing another person is the right thing? What makes someone think at any age taking another life is right? I served in the Army. A lot of people know that. people that I served in the Army with listen to this podcast. And we had to deal with things that are with life and death every day. And it wasn't something that you just nonchalantly said, hey, yeah, today I'm going to go kill somebody. It's not how you woke up in the day. It's not how you dealt with life. Any death, any violence, anything that happened around you, military or not, you would think to yourself, is this okay? What am I doing? How can I not do this again? How can I make sure that these emotions, this stress, this anxiety, I can work through it? And that's what we were there. We were in a country where a lot of people were trying to kill us. And our minds were still on, is this the best option? Is there something else we can do? Is there a better way to get through our day than thinking about taking another human life? And something pushed this 20-year-old over that limit. Was it rhetoric? Was it Biden saying, let's put the bullseye on Donald Trump? Was it the way that Trump spoke? Was it he's a Trump supporter and he loved Trump so much he wanted to kill him? Or try to kill him and make him a martyr so he's even more popular? Who knows? And that's the problem. Because the Secret Service did what they were supposed to do at the end, at least, which was they took him out. But of course, then you have the conspiracy theorists who say, how did a kid with a gun get on a ladder, climb to the top of a roof 148 yards away, everyone noticing him, getting him on their cell phone, moving around, and no one did anything about it? How does a Secret Service, whose whole job it is at that moment, not bank fraud and anything else, at that moment was to protect the presidential candidate, and they failed so epically that this guy was caught for a half hour beforehand by the police and they let him go. Then he was seen 5 minutes before, all those times by people on their phones who called out to the police saying, hey, there's a guy on the roof with a gun, and no one did anything. And then you find out that the police were actually stationed in that building underneath the guy. So it's not like they were far away. They were literally in the same building below him, and they did nothing. And again, Trump lived. Positive. I don't care which side you're on the aisle. No one should die. You should not take another human life like that. That's not how it should go. You don't have to like him. You don't have to vote for him, but you don't have to kill him, okay? It's just, you don't have to. And this kid tried to kill him. I doubt he was trying to miss on purpose, because, well, if he was trying to hit him but not hurt him, shooting for his head is the worst possible scenario. Okay, because if you trying to miss, you're going to kill him. Shooting for an arm or a leg, he's going to live, but yet it'll look good. He aimed for the head. That's not him trying to keep him alive. That's not how that goes. And again, if he was trained well, he wouldn't have missed, because anyone who listens to me that's been in the military or shot more than twice, 148 yards isn't far. 148 yards is easy to hit. And this kid missed. He was that bad of a shot. I'm glad. Again, don't want life to be taken from anybody. That's always been my stance. Don't let people die. Big fan of life. But it really made me think, what are we doing? What are we doing every day to where I can listen to the news, I can listen to sports radio, I can listen to regular news, I can read the internet, newspaper on the internet, I can watch TikTok, I can look on Facebook, I can do Instagram, I can do everything on the interweb, I can look at physical pieces of paper, I can listen, I can watch, and none of it is unified. After 9/11, you saw Congress together in solidarity. You saw the president, you had the House, the Senate, everybody on the same team. Even if it was for a short time, we had everybody on the same team. Now No one's on the same team. President Trump, or former President Trump, almost gets killed, and within an hour, there's conspiracy theorists out there saying it was a setup, it was a ploy, it was to make him look good, or it was the other way, it's a setup or a ploy by the CIA or the FBI to kill Trump, to take him out of it. We can't even just say this was a one person doing one thing to try to cause harm to the nation. Let's work together and stop being so pissed off with one another. I know many, many Democrats and many, many Republicans. And guess what? I don't hate them. I'm pretty sure at least one of my sisters is a liberal, and the other one is pretty damn conservative. I can still eat with them and talk to them and enjoy their company. I'm pretty sure people I work with are both. And again, I don't hate them. I don't regret being near them. It's not a big deal. I'm a school teacher most of my time as an adult. Well, most of my time as an educated adult. And most teachers are very liberal. Does that mean I hate all the teachers I've worked with? Absolutely not. Because we're human beings first. We're Americans second. We're family members. We're husbands, wives, spouses, significant others, moms, dads, grandparents, dog parents, dog moms, all of that first, before we're whatever party we think we are. Because let's think of it this way, the KKK was set up by the Democratic Party. Democratic Party since then, since the 60s, has changed their tune. So should I just blame every Democrat in the world for racism today because, their ancestors did something stupid? No. Am I going to blame every Republican for something, Warren G. Harding or, Ronald Reagan, or there's not been a lot of presidents that are Republican that hasn't been, lately. I don't think every Republican thinks Donald Trump is perfect, or George Bush was perfect, or Reagan was perfect, or Nixon was perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect human. But yet, every night on the news we hear, oh, well, they're doing this, so they need to work on this because they're not doing their best. Then you do the damn job. You'll never see a news reporter going, I'm going to be president because I know what to do. No one wants that headache. It costs a lot of money. It destroys your family. It destroys your life. It makes you the villain. No matter what you do, you're going to be the bad guy. Trump had an affair with a porn star. He paid her off before he was president. Clinton had sex with his secretary, his intern, in the Oval Office while he was president. He also had affairs with women when he was the governor of Arkansas. We look at Trump one way and Clinton as another way, mostly because Clinton is a nice guy who really cares about things. He plays the saxophone, eats McDonald's. Trump is not as nice. He eats McDonald's, and he's got a lot of money, but he tweets mean things, and that's not fair. Presidents have been having affairs forever. JFK had an affair in the Oval Office many times. People still called it Camelot, even though it wasn't. Presidents do that. They get this absolute power, and sometimes they like having the power and feeling like they're in charge and over people. People didn't like JFK's policies. He got shot. People didn't like Bobby Kennedy's policies. He got shot. People didn't like Gerald Ford because he thought he was standing in for Nixon. He got shot at. People didn't like Reagan. He got shot. George Bush, he goes to a foreign country. Someone throws a grenade at him. Grenade didn't go off, but still threw a grenade at him. Okay, these things unfortunately keep happening no matter where they go. America, another country. I mean, someone threw a shoe at George Bush. Just oddly. Okay. The anger in this world is been around for a long time. But now it's not just at a person, a belief. It's at everybody. If you walk into certain places in this country and you say you're a Republican, people will yell at you. People will scream at you. People will put you down. People will kick you out. And if you go in certain places in this country and you say you're a Democrat, you love Joe Biden, people are going to yell at you. They're going to scream at you. They're going to kick you out. We used to talk about breakfast. You know, you go out to breakfast, you talk about the current events, and you can disagree, but you're eating, pancakes, some bacon, and you're good to go. We don't do that anymore. We don't have debates over a coffee cup and some pancakes. We hang out with people who believe like we do in public because we don't want to have a debate. We don't talk about politics around the dining room table anymore because people get offended and they leave, or they start throwing things, or, God, family members have stabbed other family members for political beliefs. What are we doing? I just don't get it. You know, I listen to people on the radio every morning, and the radio station I listen to, they're kind of conservative leaning, but I listen to them and I think to myself, what if they were just having this talk in public today, out around people, not on a radio station where there's call screeners and there's people making sure that certain people don't get on the air. They have a Twitch feed and a YouTube and a text line, but again, they don't read all of it. They don't read all of it because some of it is just downright hateful and nasty. You know, you can have one host say, hey, you know, rehab should be free for addicts and we should stop giving out needles. We should just make rehab free and make it easier for people and give them help to, I don't know, not be addicted to drugs. And he talks about his own addiction and how basically he almost died and then he finally got it through his thick head to do something. But there's also people in there going, I don't want to pay more taxes. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. People should just take care of themselves. But they can have that conversation and they're okay with it. They can have that conversation and no one storms out angry. That should be what America is today, but we're not. We're not, because we have this all empowerment thing going on from the internet. Social media has made us feel like we're powerful and you know, we can get away with anything. And the pandemic did not help. The pandemic taught us that, you know, we don't have to go outside to speak our minds. We can just go behind our keyboard and post a video, and you know, we'll get that outrage. And things like TikTok and Facebook and YouTube, you get clicks, you get views, you get money. So you say stuff that maybe you don't even fully believe, but you say it because you want the clicks, you want the interaction, so you can get paid. We're rewarding hate speech. We're rewarding anger. We're rewarding threatening activities. There was a gentleman on a radio show, and the person on the radio show said, you said that you weren't upset about the Trump assassination plot. That the only thing you're upset about is that he missed. He's like, yeah, well, you know, it's the Republicans have been speaking anger for all this time. It's about time that we spoke the same back. You know, I thought of my grandson and my kids growing up. Well, he hit me first, so you should hit him back. Yeah. We don't live in the eye for an eye age anymore. Just because someone said something mean to you doesn't mean you can wish them dead. And that's what is happening. There are literally people on the internet right now, and one of them is getting quote-unquote canceled. He made a joke. You know, someone said, what do you want for your birthday? What's your birthday wish? For them not to miss next time on Trump. That's just crazy. It's crazy that people laughed at that. And until it was released on the internet, no one said anything negative about it. And then it was shown, and people were like, oh my God, how dare this guy that no one really knows except for he's in a band with Jack Black. How dare he say something like that? Cancel. And they had to cancel their tour. They had to cancel everything. They had to rethink their friendship because the guy made a joke. But the joke was, let's kill somebody. And when did that become a joke? I'm rambling a little bit because today's world has just become so crazy. I first thought to myself, I'm going to name it the category mistake. I'm naming it the category mistake because no way the world is as screwed up as I see it. It can't be. I'm seeing it in such a way that it's messed up. But not everyone sees it that way. It can't be this bad. In the last week, I've had second thoughts on that. I think the world is this bad. And we need, some people are like, oh, we need Jesus. Yes, we need Jesus. We need something. We need something to change and quickly. Or this is going to be worse than the Roman Empire. Worse than the Greeks. Worse than the Babylonians and the Mongolians and every other empire that's fallen. This is just gonna be ugly. Good, bad, or ugly right now, we have a choice. Can you wake up tomorrow and say, hey, you know what? My candidate might not win, but I'm not going to say something so negative about this other guy that someone takes that and uses that for ammunition to do something bad, to do something hateful, to do something destructive to another human being. None of us deserve to be killed for our beliefs, and none of us should wish anyone else to be killed for their beliefs and for what they say. That's it. What are we doing, guys? What are we doing? This has been Richard Mariello. Have a beautiful week. And hopefully next week, maybe the world has calmed down, or maybe it's more on fire. Time will only tell.